Yo, what's up? Okay. Are you okay?
Okay. There it is.
Welcome to Talking Over Albums, blah blah blah, episode 70. We're here with Will, back for Talking Over U2 and or Dave Matthews Band. Anyway, welcome to Talking Over Albums.
It is RGB. I always say it wrong. RBG or RGB.
The color spectrum in art, is it? Oh, yeah. We'll just say a little prayer for it right now. Like, Lord, non-right-wing evangelical Lord, non-denominational Lord, wherever you may be, please look after her. May she be disproportionately powerful in heaven as well. Amen.
Oh man, it's gonna be, just added a little bit more to 2020. It's like this is the longest year ever. At least it's like it's a weird like time warp because it's like I feel like time always slows down. I mean, it gets faster as you get older. Except this year is like the longest year like existent. Counts is still 2020.
Oh yeah, it's like complete Groundhog Day. Like, have you ever seen the movie Groundhog Day?
Uh-huh.
You know how? Well, rewind. Have you ever heard of Eckhart Tolle? He's like the mousy German guy who, I don't know. He always talks about Groundhog Day as like a perfect analog for the stages of enlightenment, and it's kind of true. And like, you're just in the same place doing the same thing. It's like you start off with like hedonism, like complete hedonism, and then you go to like nihilism, and then you go to like a false altruism, and then eventually like you just commit suicide. And then eventually and then eventually you like metaphorical suicide, and then eventually like acceptance, where you stop fighting your circumstances. I don't know.
I read The New Earth a long time ago. I haven't read his other one.
Oh, hold on. I want to go grab this book. I got at a garage sale today. Hold on. Okay, sorry. I don't know if you could, how well you can see this. I got this book. It's called Play of Consciousness by Swami Muktanando.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
He's a follower of the Siddha path, and I am alive by the grace of Siddha. Thus begins the intimate account of a contemporary saint's experiences on the way to enlightenment. Here's Joanna.
I'm just gonna say hi.
Joanna, how's it going? When are y'all coming to Charleston?
Never.
Wow, how polite.
I don't know. I can't leave the house now.
Normal's more of a hot spot than Charleston, though, I guess. They're probably equal.
It's very bad here. That Atlantis DVD I bought just plays a preview for Beauty and the Beast over and over and over. You never get to the film. It's just, I was like, this is the longest Beauty and the Beast commercial I've ever heard. It played
the menu button.
Yeah. And then it goes back to the beginning of the Beauty and the Beast preview.
All right, let's get to the album. So How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. Like, I have not listened to this in a really long time. It's like, even the like U2 albums I don't like, like later ones, like ones after Pop, I'll at least skim through occasionally. But like, I never revisit How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. I don't know, I just remember it's like a really sad album. Like, All That You Can't Leave Behind was, like, I don't love it, but it's at least sort of chipper and fresh and optimistic. And How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb just sounded like, yeah, they were really trying, like you said, really trying for Joshua Tree, but it's just kind of a slog. Maybe my opinion will change, but...
Yeah, I think they try to get like a little bit more,
edgy.
I wouldn't say political necessarily. Like, definitely...
Right.
This...
Where they were not political.
Like, post 9/11, like Iraq War. It's like, oh, okay, now we're going to try to be like at least pseudo, like, not going to be too specific, but we're going to be kind of like.
When we did All You Can't Leave Behind, you said that this was probably an answer to like what peace, like Irish unification, or like the peace deal in Ireland. This was probably like you dragged us back in. Like maybe they actually planned on quitting. Like maybe that was their swan song, and they're like, there's so much there's still more injustice in the world. There'll never stop being injustice.
Well, I think it was like this is also the time like when he was making. I mean, he was doing like getting very like involved with Parliament and Congress. Remember, he like was with Bush, like signing the peace deal. But then he was also like angry at Bush for the Iraq War. But it wasn't like they didn't want to be like too specific. It wasn't like Sunny Bloody Sunday in the songs. It was a little bit more vague. Like, I remember in the concert, like he did this thing about Johnny Come Marching Home, you know, with Holding a Blue Sky. Like they were trying to put in some of that anti-war stuff, but it didn't come across really strong on the album, I don't think.
Yeah, because this is an odd one, because just looking through the track listing, Vertigo, Miracle Drug, Sometimes You Can't Make It on Your Own, Love and Peace or Else is kind of
like about Israel and Palestine, I think.
Yeah, so like that's overtly political. City of Blinding Lights is pretty vague. All Because of You is vague. A Man and a Woman was vague. Crumbs from Your Table, I'm not sure. One Step Closer, Original of the Species. So there's only one like really overt kind of drum beating song on here. This is weird. But I remember this. I remember bringing, when you were living in the apartment with Zach, and bringing over.
Yeah, I remember it.
I had like a bootleg pre-release of this, and we're just listening to it on a loop. I don't know if I liked it. I just thought it was cool. I was like, I got it early. I'm not even sure if I actually liked it or not. It was, well, yeah. What was your impression? Your pre-impression of your initial impression, and how it's like what it then versus now.
Yeah, I feel like this. I do remember listening to this at the apartment. I feel like this was the first album from U2 that I actually like was already now a U2 fan when it came out, because like
yeah, me too.
All You Leave Behind. Yeah, like, I didn't like listen to that till after I started listening to U2. So this was like the first new album. And this was like the first concert, because I went to the concert in 2005, like with this tour, like the Vertigo tour.
Yeah.
That was the one I got like 10 feet away from stage. And so it.
And the speck of sweat from Bono landed on your lips.
Like, threw the water out and like landed on us.
And you haven't bathed since. Alright, this is a fairly long album. Alright, let's see how this goes.
Let me pull it up here once again.
Let's just get the superficial stuff out of the way. Okay, album cover. Horrible title. They should have just called it Atomic Bomb.
Yeah, I don't know how to dismantle an atomic bomb.
Is it supposed to sound like we're about to tell you something here? Here's how you, like, it's basically like a sideways way of saying, here's how U2 is going to make world peace. Like, that's how I've always read it. Hola, Vertigo. Remember when this was in a Taco Bell commercial or something? What was that?
It reminds me of the same of, it's like the moles digging
in a hole.
I feel like the version 2 of that.
Yeah, they've kept trying to redo this song. I think, like, I've seen all these interviews with Bono where he seems really fixated on creating like a Led Zeppelin-esque or like Helter Skelter, balls to the wall kind of album. And they've like Elevation, Vertigo, and Put On Your Boots, where he's really obsessed with coming up with like the hardest rocking song ever or something. The problem is,
I never like this song. I always just kind of like skip Vertigo.
Yeah,
I don't know. It just seemed kind of like have a happy song to like start the beginning of our concerts. Doesn't really mean anything.
No, it's super wishy-washy. It's not ballsy enough. Like, it's still too relaxing. U2 is at heart a relaxing band. They're like a spiritual, relaxing, atmospheric band. So every time they try to rock really hard, it just comes across as some kind of dumb hybrid of like just, hey Bono, give up trying to rock.
I don't know what the song's
All
even
of this
about.
can be yours. Just give me what I want, and no one gets hurt. Hola, hola.
I feel like in the modern day context, this would be like cultural appropriation, right? Un, dos, tres, catorce.
I don't know. This sounds like something that play at Chuck E. Cheese. Oh yeah. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but like it's this like one of the oldest comedy web pages on the internet. Like it's called like the greatest page in the universe. I can't remember the guy's real name, but he put out this article that said worst songs of 2003, and all of them were just this album in order. And like every angry U2 fan like descended on him. Like even at the time I was like, you jerk. Like in retrospect there's Miracle Drug.
Miracle Drug. And this song was like, what is the miracle drug that he's talking about?
What's the opening line? Something, I want to spend the day there.
Yeah, let me pull up the lyrics here.
I kind of like this song. I've always kind of liked this one. This album is so melancholy. Not really in a good way either. It's just...
Yeah, I put this as like because I was thinking my 10 songs, and I'd like to put one from this album. Like, this is definitely one of the better ones for this album.
Yeah.
This got a little bit of like the walk on, kind of moment. This is, I guess, a little bit
just from kind of a little bit of reading and what I've kind of caught over the years, is like this was not a great recording session for them. They started off with one producer and then kind of scrapped everything and then went to Steve Lillywhite and then reworked some stuff and then kind of went back to Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois and like a couple of other producers as well. So it was just like they just all seemed bored, I guess, and kept kind of bouncing stuff off old producers and new producers.
Who did they produce Joshua Tree with?
Daniel Lanois and Brian Eno.
Because you definitely hear like it's even going from All You Can't Leave Behind. It's just the Edge has like brought back the delay and I guess a little bit different. I guess it's a more like modernized Joshua Tree, but they're trying to get that big sound.
What was really weird is I didn't know Daniel Lanois and Brian Eno produced All That You Can't Leave Behind, because that album is so nondescript. It doesn't sound like either of their influences at all. But yeah, this album, there's no loose ends in the production at all. Like, it's so tight and just uniform, like, the entire production. There's nothing, like, there's no unexpected little tidbits anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like the whole album is, like, meant for a big arena. Like, it's just big, it's, like, meant for, like, the lights to...
Yeah, Bono is trying to make the arena, physically explode into this... He's like, how far can I take arena rock? I want something bigger than arena rock. I want, like... What's the biggest venue in the world? I want to fill that with sound. Sometimes you can't make it on your own.
This one was about his dad, right? It was, because I remember the concert, like, there was, like, I think it was supposed to be, like, his dad, like, just walking. That was, like, the image on the screen.
I've never thought of Bono having any family. I just always assumed he was, like a single child virgin birth.
You don't have to always be right. See.
Oh, is this kind of like Peter Gabriel's song, Father Son, where he's doing like calisthenics with his dying father? How come we've never done a Peter Gabriel album? We should have recorded Growing Up Live when we were faced and watching that. Yeah, this album's so sad. Like, this is the saddest U2 album. Okay, let's go through our list. Alright, I'll start. Number 10. Like I said, not a lot of these are surprises, but this one was. Number 10 for me, I went through U2's entire catalog, even the B-sides, just making sure, but for me, number 10 is No Line on the Horizon, the title track from that album. Like, it's the coolest verse rhythm they've ever done, like, outside of Octung Baby. Like, it's just so hypnotic and cool. That's my number 10. What's yours? Yes, this is a sub-segment during this boring song.
Yeah. I didn't put them necessarily in the order, but so it's going to be a little fuzzy with that. I would say in the top 10 for sure. In God's Country, Joshua Tree.
Yeah, I was tempted to put that one on there.
It's not like they're in the top tier of their popular songs in that album. It's not The Streets Have No Name, but it's like, still like
it's one of those that gets overshadowed on Joshua Tree. Yeah. I wish you hadn't told me, because I wanted to guess your top 10. I think I could have gotten like half of it, but whatever. I know Walk On's on there anyway. So
actually, I didn't put that one on there. But
what?
It's still a little bit, in flex right now, but it depends how I get motivated. This album, I was like, I got to put at least one on there, but
also the production on this is really quite good. And, like, the songwriting is really competent. Maybe, like, the end goal for this is to see, like, is this better than All That You Can't Leave Behind? I think we'll use that as, like, the artificial standard for this. Try to figure out, is this better than All That You Can't Leave Behind? No. But let's compare it anyway. My number 9 is from the Boy album, Shadows and Tall Trees. It's one of the few slice of life, like, very British, like kind of British attitude that U2 rarely takes, of just like a simple slice of life kind of song. It's just about walking home at night and noticing things. And it has that dreamy, ethereal feel of early U2 that kind of dropped after war, or probably at war and onwards. But those first 3 albums, where they were more like Echo and the Bunnymen, and it was more of like an atmospheric band. It was more about the mood instead of the anthem. So that's my number 9.
Your number 9 for me, I'm going to go with Iris off their
Iris.
That's next to that album. Hold Me Close. I wasn't a huge fan of it until from not Songs of Innocence. Yeah, Song of Innocence, right? I wasn't one of my favorite ones until I saw it in concert. But yeah, Iris, it's supposed to be about his mom, so I guess it's like if...
Do you have any idea what's going on with the album cover? It's like McMullen hugging... He's listening to the baby growing inside this teenage boy's stomach.
I think shout out to,
to
people, right?
Teenage boy pregnancy.
It was their way to be happy,
The production is definitely, like, just the production and the band performance are like a lot more mature. Man, those albums are so different. Like, the Innocence and Experience, it's like, the first one should have been called Songs of Experience. The second one should have been called, like, Songs of Pandering. Burn, here's Love and Peace or else. I love the intro to this growly, lay down.
Love and Peace or else. Yeah, this was like a weird time for them, because, like, he couldn't be, like, as blatant in, like, his anti-Bush rhetoric, because he was working with Bush to get all the aid passed for Africa. I don't know if I was telling you, like, I told my students this sometimes, like, Bono was like, I don't have, like, he was like, during that time, he's like, I don't have the luxury of, like, saying whatever I want to say, because basically I have a bigger goal. Like, I want to, like, be friends with Bush so we can, like, get this aid package passed. And so, which, he actually was, I don't know how much in history, looking back in history, like, if it would have passed without Bono, but he was there when Bush, like, signed all that relief aid to Africa. So I feel like this was kind of like an indirect way of, like, we're against the militarism of the U.S., but I'm not going to be like, screw Bush in my album.
Whatever.
I mean, I guess with Trump.
Yeah. What we're learning is there's always worse. So.
Yeah, I feel like in the latest concerts, he just comes out and he's basically like Trump's a monster. So he's kind of dropped that like apolitical thing, but I guess it's easy to do with Trump when it's like, do Trump fans listen to U2? Like, maybe, but he's not like worried about losing a fan base really.
My number 8 is Beautiful Day.
Oh wow!
I
had to do my number 8 from. I'll pull up from that same album. I mean, Walk On. I was gonna put Walk On, but I was trying to like avoid the greatest hits. But Walk On would definitely be up there. I do like Peace on Earth. Just the prayer / political cry. We hear it every Christmas time, but hope and history don't rhyme.
This is a weirdly introspective album.
The City of Blinding Lights. I heard it's supposed to be about like Sao Paulo or something. This definitely feels like the closest to Where the Streets Have No Name. Like it's basically.
Yeah, this was definitely their. Yeah, Where Streets Have No Name 2.0. But I don't know. I'm kind of enjoying it this time. Like I think the last time I tried to explain like. When I think U2 is great, it was more of like when Bono is pushed to the back. But I think it's more of like when there's a weariness to U2, or like more of like a mystery. There's like a haze that they're kind of behind, instead of I don't know. When there's just kind of a world weariness or a haze, but also still that aspect of spirituality and inspiration. But like I think they're still like good U2 should have some level of depression behind it.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think there's a big jump from like 2001. It just seemed like so, like it was such like a happy album. I mean, I guess Peace on Earth wasn't happy on All You Can't Leave Behind, but like other than that, it was just like when we were swinging through the trees. Was the monkey? You were a monkey. Wild Honey.
Yeah,
like, it was just like very like.
Yeah, that's practically like a jangle pop album compared to this.
It was just like we've entered the new millennium and everyone's happy. There's peace in Ireland and there's no terrorism. So things were still on the up and up. I wonder if you like looked at the first decade of the 2000s, like their albums, like how those kind of coincide with the trends in the world. It was like 2000 like started off really good, and then like by the mid 2000s, you get the wars, terrorism, economic recession.
Ian.
And they kind of have. You say.
It's your Uncle Brett. Okay.
You say what?
I like your Jurassic Park shirt. That's really cool.
Hey, dude. You say hey? Yeah.
Is he a U2 fan yet?
You like U2? He likes. Hey, Liam. What do dudes like? Rock and roll. Yeah. You read rock and roll, right? No, I don't take off my headphone. Hey, glass mommy for chocolate milk. Okay.
Go ask mommy for Taco Bell.
Chocolate milk.
Oh.
Mommy's got chocolate milk. Glass mommy for chocolate milk, okay? So, yeah.
This isn't that bad. I don't know. I remembered this album being like a lot more cynical and cash grabby. Like, this is alright.
I mean, this would work, especially if they were, thought it was a good idea to bring Dashboard Confessional for the opening band. Like this, it had to be a little bit like.
What was the reason? Did Bono personally like Mr. Dashboard Confessional?
I just remember my brother telling me that he's like, 'cause he had like gotten to sing Dashboard 2 nights earlier or something. It's like, U2's gonna have Dashboard with them. I'm like, no, they're not. It was like right after they came out with the Spider-Man album of like Vindicated, and so like no one at the U2 concert except us college kids knew who Dashboard Confessional were.
Did Bono think that was the hippest thing going at the time? Or?
Yeah, that was because I mean, just like a couple years earlier, no one knew who they were, and then a couple years later, no one did either. But I guess they had that little like.
Blessings are not just for the ones who kneel. All right, my number 7. Wait, 10. 9. My number 7 is from War, Drowning Man. This was the biggest surprise on here for me because I never really thought about the song that much. It's not really like a hooky song, but it's like one of the few U2 songs that just drifts. Like, it's not driving towards something, it just kind of floats. Yeah, because usually U2 songs are always building up to some, like, mountaintop, or always, like, chugging forward in this, you know, you gotta keep the stadium entertained, but... like lyrically, it's nothing spectacular. It's pretty generic, but just like the band performance is incredible. It's like a prime example of early U2 being a lot more ethereal. All right, you ready for All Because of You?
Yeah, look at that guy.
Or are you gonna get him some chocolate
Let's see,
milk?
my number 7.
Get him some chocolate milk.
My number 7, though, is, I would say, I'm going to pull from Pop and say Staring at the Sun.
Really? Why? You have to justify that one.
I don't know. I just remember going to get the Pop album from what was the pawn shop near Kmart?
Monster Pawn? No, not Midwest Exchange.
Yeah, and that was like, I feel like at that time I didn't like a lot of like the blatantly like try to be techno stuff, but like that one was like the one song I was like I like, you know, If God Would Send His Angels, but Staring at the Sun seemed like kind of one of those grand songs, but it also had like that element from Pop that was still not, it wasn't like this level of City of Blinding Lights, but it was still supposed to try to be.
It's kind of their most blatant sing-along song. It's just like the U2, maybe not like the most crowd-pleasing, but yeah, it's like, I like the song. I'm just kind of surprised you picked
Staring
that
at the Sun, and then, what was the other one? I'll Be Off with the Sun. Can you say goodnight to Brett?
Good night.
Go get him. Chocolate milk.
Well,
Okay, I'm back.
how was the chocolate milk?
I think he got it finally. Yeah, he's a little obsessed with it. Yeah.
That's good. All right.
Gonna have diabetes here.
The beat
So
all because of you.
This song's kind of happy.
I think I said it in the last podcast. It's the most reverb that's ever been on a Edge riff. I think there's another one where they were trying to rock really hard. It's a good song, but
I feel like
it just doesn't... I don't know what it is about, like, really great rock. Like, something just, like, visceral, balls to the walls. You know it when you hear it. It feels like they try really hard, but they're just missing, like, the chaos of real rock music. It's just too calculated.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, like, the emo background from high school or something, but I feel like I always just skip the fast songs like this. I like went to the kind of not dark songs, but the melancholy.
At least still at this point, like Bono and the Edge still knew how to craft a good hook. So even if the songs aren't that mind blowing, like it's still catchy, which is something that just started to disappear as they've gone on. It's just getting harder and harder for them to write hooks, but yeah, like when I was talking about with Drowning Man, I think an aspect of probably mostly Bono, but or the Edge is like the real introspective aspect of early U2, where there's a lot of like dream state stuff in there, more like abstract imagery and like a real spiritual world instead of just like a pulpit preaching kind of method of songwriting. Yeah, I think that's really been missing for most of U2 since, like, Zooropa, probably.
I feel like this song's... I mean, like, all these songs have, like, one or two lines that are kind of good. Like, I'm not broke, but you can see the cracks. You can make me perfect again. But then it's like, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't really know.
I think, like, U2 might be, like, the ultimate example of just getting lost in your audience. When you become just It's classic rock, like where it went into the late 70s, where it just became hyper aware of its audience with stadium rock and like Styx, where it's like you're crafting songs for a huge audience, like consciously for a huge audience. And I think U2 never got out of that mode after. I think they had like fits and starts, but I don't think they ever recovered after All That You Can't Leave Behind. I think they just got stuck in the mode of singing to a stadium after that. Here's where
they need to have like a unplugged album or something.
Yeah. Speaking of, one of their few acoustic songs. I think this might be their only like purely acoustic guitar-driven song of their last 5 albums.
Let me pull up the lyrics.
Yeah, because this kind of harkens back to early U2 a bit. This is holding up a lot better than I remember it. I think I've always been a bit too harsh on this album, and I'm not really sure why. It's not great by any means, and there's something off about it. They just sound kind of tired, but like there's nothing overt or embarrassing about it, like there is in subsequent U2 albums.
Yeah, I definitely think this one was better than the one after. Well, the one after this was what? No Line on the Horizon?
Yeah.
I remember that was the one that came out when you were like in Costa Rica.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was right after post-Obama, right after Obama got elected, like early 2009, late 2008.
I remember I was really excited because I don't know why I was excited at the time. I guess I didn't know that they mostly worked with Brian Eno and Daniel Lanois, so I thought like, oh cool, this is going to be like an artsier, more intellectual U2 album or something. And like, wasn't really. I think it's just because they made a big deal about like, we're going to a foreign land to absorb the Middle Eastern vibe. It was like what was that Coldplay album? It was like the original version of that.
They're on top of the roof.
We're going to the foreign land. We're gonna go rock the Casbah.
Yeah, this is not like a.
Wow,
It's not a bad song.
Oh, I forgot about Vertigo. Vertigo's a sack of shit. But anyway, here. Wait, 10, 9, 8, 7. My number 6 is LI-MONE from Zooropa.
Seriously. My Zooropa one, I'll give you my... I put The Wanderer.
Ooh.
With Johnny Cash.
I mean, mine's self-explanatory because it's just the smoothest, coolest song U2 has ever done. But The Wanderer I really like. I remember the first dozen or so times listening through Zooropa, always thinking it was kind of the cheesy bookend to the album. Like, why are they doing this? I mean, I liked Johnny Cash well enough at the time, but I'm like, it was just the weird disconnect of, like, kind of clunky synthesizer song with Johnny Cash. It's like the weird contrast that makes it work, but also awkward.
I mean, did, like, Johnny Cash, right? Was it like a Johnny Cash more, or was it U2 then, and Johnny Cash just sung it?
I don't know. I thought it was more of a, like, that it was a collaborative thing. I actually have no idea, but I think Johnny Cash, like, contributed a little bit, but it was still mostly a U2 song. But I don't know. I could look it up right now, but I don't want to. So...
I think from Europa, Babyface. Was it Babyface that was on?
You can't repick. Here's Crumbs from Your Table. Here's another one I'm really iffy on. The whole second half of this album, except for Yahweh, yeah, I'm really iffy on.
I guess this is like another like political one they had, but it wasn't like, or more like social. But I'm waiting on the Crumbs from Your Table.
You gotta say the production is really good on this album. Like, a lot of time it gets criticized for being passed in between producers constantly, but it's really coherent. It doesn't, like, it's more coherent than pop. And even kind of All That You Can't Leave Behind. Like, even All That You Can't Leave Behind, it seems like there's more song and production variation. I mean, not a lot, but, like, more than, like, I don't know. This sounds really coherent. It doesn't sound like it was just tossed between producers.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever did the final mastering did a good job.
One, you already put the picture of this. Let's see. And, this one, I feel like is. I'm wondering if it was kind of about all the work that they were trying to do. Because there's the one line in this. It was where you live should not determine. Oh yeah, where you live should not decide whether you live or whether you die. 3 to a bed, sister, and she said, dignity passes by. You speak, I don't know what he was talking about. He's you speak of signs and wonders, but I need something other. I would believe if I was able, but I'm waiting on the crumbs from your table. I guess it's supposed to be about, I thought it was about, poverty, or, what they're trying to do in Africa, but that kind of comes in at the end. But, I don't really know what he's talking about the first part.
This album is giving me Alzheimer's.
Well, the only problem I have is it's a little, it's so vague that it's that you don't really know what. It's not like Sunday Bloody Sunday where it's directly this is about peace and war. It's
this is the
this
week.
is kind of about poverty, but we're gonna put something at the end. So you kind of read into it.
This is the weakest song so far.
I guess Yahweh is pretty straightforward, but most of them, it's kind of pseudo-spiritual, pseudo-political, but it's vague enough that you don't really know what they're saying.
Yeah, there's just definitely something off with this album as a whole. I can't put my finger on it. The production is good. Oh, I think with something I've noticed with at least all of the U2 songs that I really love in just kind of albums as a whole, especially Achtung Baby. Achtung Baby is besides Joshua Tree, is just sort of a universal favorite. And I think it's when U2 is at their best when it's rhythm based. When they have a really great just groove that they're in, a really great something unusual, when it's just an interesting, cool rhythmic foundation that they're coming from. And you can always tell when it's just kind of a stock U2 thing where there's not really a great rhythm and they're more relying on just the edge guitar sound. And so
right.
So I the rhythm section needs to carry U2 a lot, Edward McMullen and Larry, or don't get enough credit.
They kind of got brought along.
Yeah, they need to be kept engaged. When they're engaged, the band is elevated, pun intended. There's one step closer. I have no idea what this is.
I always thought it was one step closer to Norway.
That'd be awesome. If they just throwing darts at the map to pander for them when they tour there. It's listen, it is I, Bono. It's been a while since we've been here in Copenhagen, Norway.
This one's definitely very melancholy. I'm on an island at a busy intersection. I can't go forward. I can't turn back. Can't see the future. It's getting away from me.
Yeah, holy shit. This whole thing is the second half of Pop. Or it's just really introspective and boring.
The heart that hurts is a heart that beats. Can you hear the drummer slowing? I don't know.
But none of this is truly bad, because you always know when you're entering super cliche U2 territory, and none of this has really reached that other than Vertigo. It's just the beginnings, and it's fast and gets out of the way quickly. So my number 10, 9. I didn't number these, and one's out of play. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. My number 5 is The Fly. A man will rise. A man will fall from the sheer face of love like a fly on a wall. And that gets to my point of great U2 grooves. That song has just the sexiest, most badass groove they've ever done. Sweet Irish funk.
That one, from that album, I'm going to have to say Acrobat.
Oh man, you're really going for you're going for like the really unexpected kind of neglected stuff. Yeah, Acrobat.
Don't let the bastards keep you down. It's a very like.
Did you put Until the End of the World on your list?
I was thinking about that one.
You chose Acrobat. Oh wow! All right.
Well, I was trying to. I think I was going a little bit more for the ones that were not like as popular. But yeah,
so you're trying to be cool with your list instead of just picking what you liked. All right.
If I had to choose between Until the End of the World or Acrobat, I'd probably do Until the End of the World.
All right. So your number 5 was Until the End of the World. Number 4 for me from War is Surrender. I think it might be U2's 3rd best song or 4th best song. There you go. This is one that I would put at 3 or 4, not just my personal favorite. I think it is in the top 5 best U2 song. It's another one that is so beautiful and perfect and just kind of bounces and floats and.
I said I'll have my hair.
So I sing my song. Here's Original of the Species.
I will put for my number 4. I'll put one. Hit song, New Year's Day.
New Year's Day.
That's
in my top 20, probably.
I mean, honestly, Sunny Bloody Sunday. I didn't put Sunny Bloody Sunday on my list.
What?
But I mean,
Bono's gonna come to your house and chop your dick off.
So if we're not doing if we're allowed to put in the top 10 hit songs, then that might have screwed my list a little bit. But.
Surrender. Alright, what do you think of Original of the Species? We're winding the album down. It's getting very depressing.
Yeah, let me see here.
God, we're an hour and 17. Okay.
This one's a little bit happier. But
yeah, it's weird. Maybe somebody remixed this. I just don't remember. I remember this album being a lot more generic stock, just generic U2 template kind of sound. And with worse production, but I don't know. This all sounds pretty good. I mean, it's getting very boring, but
I felt this one's at least got compared to the end of All You Can't Leave Behind. I feel like it's goes straight downhill. I love the first
straight
4 or 5 songs.
All right,
the first 4 or 5 songs are great, and All You Can't Leave Behind. Then it's just I feel like I didn't even listen to the rest of the album really. Where this one is
well, for me, all the You Can't Leave Behind it's not the whole second half. It's just kind of the last 3 or 4 songs that really tail off. New York is awful. I think that's the second to last. It's the last 3 songs are pretty terrible, from what I remember. But
yeah, I feel like this one they try to end a little stronger than I think. All You Can't Leave Behind.
I think just the strength of Beautiful Day alone makes that a better album. But on the whole, I don't know. This is close. My number.
Okay.
I'm going to keep talking about Surrender because it's just the best U2 song. My number 3, though, is Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me from the Batman Forever soundtrack. I think that's the one time U2 actually rocked really hard. It's got all the awesome dramatic strings. It's just got a cool build-up. It's just... I always thought it should have been on Octung Baby, but then realized it was from the Zooropa sessions. So never mind. But yeah, that's my number 3.
Mine from that kind of same genre is The Hand That Built America.
The Hand That Built... What was that from?
That was the...
Was that a B-side? Something?
That was from, let's see here. It was from
Elvis.
Gangs of New York. I'm pretty sure it was from the Gangs of New York.
Oh. So we both just picked B-sides, or movie soundtrack B-sides. And
yeah, and it's supposed to be, their immigrant song. These are the hands that built America.
I don't think I've heard that one.
I'm pretty sure it's on their 90s to 2000s hits. But it's all about
because I kind of looked through those B-sides and compilation stuff to see if there's any singles I was missing.
It's the very
And 1 and 2.
Most like immigrant song.
2 and 1 for me are super predictable, but I couldn't deny them. With or Without You and Pride in the Name of Love, they're just too good. A couple of years ago, I probably never would have picked With or Without You because it's too obvious, and I was like, whatever, you hear it all the time. But it's too perfect. And Pride in the Name of Love has always been one of my favorite songs ever. Here's Yahweh.
I'm gonna have to go with. See, I'm like cheating on this. Like I did have like on my list. I had Love Is Blindness, like All I Want Is You are on there. But if I really had to pick like the 2 most transformative songs, it would be Where the Streets Have No Name and Sunny Bloody Sunday.
If you didn't put either of those on your list, I would know you're just trying to be a hipster douche.
So
of course,
I mean, those would have to be the. Those are still like the songs that I like. If I'm on my guitar, like I just play Sunny Bloody Sunday by like instinct every day.
That was the only other surprise for me is like if I had to come up with this list just from memory, like I don't know, just on the spot, I probably wouldn't have picked With or Without You. But then I kept going through the list, and I'm like, it's like a perfectly balanced U2 song that doesn't need to build up to the mountaintop. It's just perfect U2 introspection. I'm almost starting to tear up just thinking about them. And almost vomiting thinking about this song. Yeah,
See,
way.
I feel like he's maybe I'm giving Bono too much credit, but like I feel like he's being sincere, at least in part of this song. But maybe not. Maybe he's just like, don't take these hands on like a fist.
What's he saying? Something about this child is born. Please don't put this child in porn. I don't remember this being at the end.
Why the dark before the dawn?
Amen, Bono, you Irish bag. We should get. I bet Larry would do our podcast. Larry McMullen. He wouldn't say anything. He would just respond in drumstick hits.
Take this city, a city that should be shining on a hill. Take this city if it be your will.
This is a really sad album. Let's see what Swami Mukhadananda says. Chapter 9, Snakebite. One morning, as my mind was fixed on the black goddess within the red and white lights, I saw a city surrounded by impenetrable darkness. I do not know how far inside I went, but I covered a considerable distance. Thank you, Swami. Quit doing LSD.
Oh, this is Fast Cars. This was like the album, right?
Was this originally on the album? I thought this was a B-side.
Yeah, like added. I don't remember this song. I got CCTV, pornography, CNBC. I got the Nightly News. To Get to Know the Enemy. Yeah,
this is a B-side. So Yahweh was the last song. Whatever. Anyway, this can be our. So disregard what you've heard for the last 1 minute. So landing the plane before we get to an hour and a half. Because I don't want to edit all of this crap. Anyway, so yeah, final impressions. This has held up a lot better for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is of their first. I might make a big claim of their album, of their 3 albums.
It's their sexiest.
And their first albums of the first decade of the 2000s. I think this might be my favorite one between All You Can't Leave Behind and No Line on the Horizon, and this one.
Yeah, because I've listened to No Line on the Horizon more recently. Just pound for pound, this holds up the best, I think. Because, like, All You Can't Leave Behind has, like, really high points, but a lot of spotty, annoying shit. And No Line on the Horizon tanks really quickly.
I don't know what it is about, like, this style, or, like, Joshua Tree, where it makes it sound more timeless than it doesn't sound.
Yeah, because there's nothing overt in the... Like, it's more of a, like, naturalistic... I'm doing podcast air quotes. It's, like, more of a naturalistic, band production style. And I swear to God this is a different mix. But yeah, like on All That Can't Leave Behind, there's a lot of you can tell that they're trying for like synthesized sounds. They're incorporating a lot more like things that were hip at the time that kind of that don't necessarily age well. And No Line on the Horizon is mostly just bad songwriting, like because like bad production value isn't going to completely tank an album. Like it's always songwriting reliant. No Line on the Horizon was just mostly bad songwriting, but I give this we'll eventually do it. We seem to be like starting like at pop and just kind of working our way out from like in both directions. I give this a solid 7.5 out of 10. I never would have thought I would. No, that's a 6 out of 10.
I'll give it the 7.5. It's one of my.
I don't know what my point of comparison is, but
in the last 20 years, definitely. You know, this was like U2's peak too. This was like when they were doing the what was the live
when people still had big expectations.
The Live 8, like whatever that was, like in 2005 with the Help lead.
You know what it is? They're just so far ahead of their time. We're just catching up way after the fact. And in 5 years, we'll fully appreciate No Line on the Horizon.
I do feel like this is the time where I was like before cynicism, like I felt like this was like a time where like U2 was like, we're gonna change the world. Like
they were gods.
It was like there was not as much cynicism of
Bono and his mighty cock were ruling over it. I don't know.
Maybe that was just me in college. Maybe it was just like me, my idealistic self in college. So I can't like listen to this album without like having that lens through it.
Oh, whatever lens I was viewing it Jesus Christ. Whatever lens I was viewing it through was apparently really bad and distorting, because I just assumed I hated this album and thought it was a terribly produced commercial show. But it's fine. Good job, U2. It's not a terrible album. It's not your worst album. What is U2's worst album? Well, No Line on the Horizon.
That's the one that I feel like they didn't have any they didn't have any hits on that album. I mean, that's the measure, but like. Yeah,
I definitely remember that as being the first one. It was like, oh no, like the only high point was the title track, and that was kind of it. Yeah, because that's where it kind of felt like, because you could always rely on U2 as being like a hit machine, or like a like at least a good hook machine. Like they're always good at writing something hooky and catchy, and that was the first time. All right, I'm at an hour and a half. I don't want to edit. This is getting too much to edit. All right, say your piece to the deceased.
Well, don't think any last words.
To Ruthie B, wherever she may be. How dare you die?
Who was that? Oh, Archie.
It's like she did it on purpose.
I was thinking today, like,
how are we gonna solve feminism? Did you ever see? You ever watch Portlandia?
I've watched some episodes.
You see the episode with like the male feminist group, the group of like stay-at-home men who are sitting around this self-help group, and he's like, "We really have to come together if we're ever going to solve feminism."
Portland, man, was. I'd show you the video when we were out there. Like that was. I hope that's not the future of America. It's kind of like a.
Glorious.
It's not a very fun. Like it was like a kind of depressing place actually. They made the U.S. just too powerful. Like just like break it up.
I agree. Thanks for listening to Talking Over Albums, episode 72. Will be back with probably No Line on the Horizon or Every Day. I don't know.
Tell Joanna find a date. And
let me read one final word from Swami Maktunduni. The truth is that suffering is not knowing the Lord God who pervades the world, while happiness is knowing him. The end.
There you go.
Bye.
Okay. Have a good night.